Good morning, and welcome to Your Business in Digital. I am Tamara Louise, super excited to be here. We're going to have such an amazing show today. I cannot wait. We have a great guest with us. There's going to be good stuff. Team, how are you guys doing this morning? How's everyone doing?
Feeling pumped.
I'm excited to be here with you guys this morning and to talk to our guests. It's always fun when we have family and then friends in the room. So I'm looking forward to today's conversation.
And good morning, everyone. Doing well on this side as well. And yes, looking forward to the conversation this morning.
All right, so we have a jam-packed show, so let's kick to the intro. Good morning, and welcome to Your Business in Digital. I am Tamara Molui. Super excited to be here because we have an amazing show for you. But let me tell you about Your Business in Digital. We bring together the true elements of a true small business, and we really talk about digital and digital marketing activities. We bring together sales and pricing. We have great Michelle Gordon in here who talks to us about sales and pricing, making sure that you're pricing yourself the right way. We have the CFO in the building, Andrea Ragu, who is talking about those numbers and how do you leverage digital to get to those numbers. Of course, we have Mr. Michael Wilshire in the building. He's talking operations and that process, right? How do you get to the assets that you need in order to really make sure that those marketing activities are effective? And of course, I talk about digital marketing strategies, things that you need to implement so that you can really see that money in the bank. So what I want you to do is I want you to tell people about the show. I want you to tell people how to connect with us. Connect with us on YouTube, connect with us on LinkedIn, where everywhere podcasts are found. Tell a CFO about this show. Tell a CEO about this show, a CMO, a business executive, a small business owner, because what we're doing here is connecting all those dots, right? Sometimes digital can be so difficult for people to understand, but if you can connect it back to leads, to revenue in the bank, then it becomes really, really effective. You want to get to that place where you're saying digital helped me increase my revenue by 10%, by 20% year over year. So that's the conversation we're always having here at Your Business in Digital. So yay. My intro went a little bit longer, but not too bad. Can I get a round of applause? What are we doing? All right, isn't it crazy when you have to ask for it and then you're like, wait, no, not me, too much. Stop it. All right, too much fun. So I know we have a jam-packed show today. So we have an amazing guest. We're going to be talking about content creation with Alex Zweydoff. So that's going to be awesome. But before that, of course, we have to move into our hot topics. So let's go. What are we talking about today? And who is doing the hot topics?
All right, so that will be me. This morning, we're going to talk about Black Twitter. Black Twitter spills the tea, guys. If you have not heard the term, well, I'm going to tell you a bit about it. So what are we talking about? So a laid-off Twitter employee started his own app shortly after leaving, of course, getting laid off from Twitter, right? So 1 year after, the social media app is being called the Black Twitter. And the name of the app is called Spill. So if you could go to the next slide. So it's being called Spill, and it was created by a former Twitter employee. It's a fairly young app. It's 2 years old, but it's really an app that is serving the underrepresented audience. So what we're seeing now is social media that is culture focused is now a very powerful force, right? And it's reshaping the digital landscape to give voices to underrepresented communities. And this is where Spill is really coming in and making a splash, because it is a culturally relevant, fun, safe, and rewarding way for people to connect online. Its founder, the former Twitter employee, Alfonso Fez Terrell, he is trying to set his platform apart, and he's gaining traction by prioritizing inclusivity, cultural relevance, and basically economic empowerment for these groups that just have not been served, or they're not getting their voices heard in a way that they feel comfortable, and they need a safe space to be able to express opinions about the relevant issues of the day that impact them mostly, right? They found that social media users are in search of that safe environment where they can discuss the societal issues and share content among this diverse community. And recently, what made it come into the news again most recently, because it's 2 years old, the app, actress Kerry Washington joined the app as an investor, right? She's also an active user and has supported the app in what it's doing, right? So bringing on somebody as high powered and influential as Kerry Washington speaks a lot to what the app is trying to stand for, and speaks a lot to what the app is trying to do in in the community. So, why should we even care about this? There's one lesson. Today's a quick hot topic, because there's one lesson. I'm sure we could find other lessons, but the lesson I want to focus on, that I want business owners to take away, that I found fascinating about this story, apart from the fact that it's a new app and all the with all the trimmings of what a new app does, what I took away from this is that there's always a niche to serve. If you look at the social media app market, there's apps for everything. There's so many social media apps, and I found it very refreshing that another app is making its mark by cutting through the noise and setting its platform apart with inclusivity and catering to the marginalized groups. So the message is there's always a niche to serve. Even if you're looking at a market and you see, but there's so many players, there's so many things, how can I differentiate myself? There's always a niche. You just need to sit and look at the market with a perspective of who is it not serving, and can I serve them? So the lesson that I found useful when I read the story, I was like, wow, they are really finding a market that they can serve, even though there are so many other apps, right? Sometimes we can't even list all the social media apps. But what I really found refreshing is that there's a niche there. So I want small business owners to look at this story, follow the app, and see what they're doing. But the lesson I want to take away, and I want small business owners to take away, there's always a niche to serve. There's always somebody that is being underrepresented that you can swoop in, and that you could become the answer for them. So there you have it, our hot topic.
It's a really good one, right? Because niching down is where you find, a lot of times that's where you really find the success, right? That audience who is looking for something, needs something a little bit more. And it's kind of like, okay, hold on. They have these questions. What are they saying? So that's a lot of, and it's the data gets you to that point. So this was a good hot topic. I remember getting an invitation to spill like 2 years ago. I got an invitation because I was just like, who has it? I went on my social media and was like, who has an invitation to spill? And I got on, and I forgot I had the app. But when I heard about this hot topic, I kind of jumped back on just to kind of, poke around. And I was just like, right, it's not bad. I just don't have time for another social media, but it's not bad.
Yeah, and you see, just even what you said there, right? You got an invitation. I became aware of this story because of Kerry Washington joining, so that's why it kind of came back up and resurfaced. But just the fact that you're looking to see, who do I bring into this app? You're not just launching it, and everybody could join. So you have to get an invitation. You have to know about it. So I like that.
2 years ago, right? I think that was 2 years ago. I think now
Correct, but
join. Yeah,
now they probably,
yeah.
but just just the approach that they're taking, I find refreshing. And like I said, well, for me, from immediately when I read the story, that one lesson is what kept coming back to me, that there's always a group that you could find to serve, that is saying, listen, look me over here, can you help me?
I love this story. I love this story. one of the key things that we speak about here in Your Business and Digital, and is a core component of what I work with my lanyard clients, is understanding truly who your target audience is. And the niche that you're speaking of, Andrea, forces this conversation. And actually, let me take two steps back. One of the things that I found really smart about what this young man did was he walked into an environment that was familiar to him. He took what he understood from his corporate world and said, I understand that there is an opportunity, there's an unmet need, and there's a community of people that can be spoken to, and I have that solution for them. And here's what differentiates me from that, because I know and understand this space, and I understand how to speak to them, because I come from this huge corporate background where we've been talking globally to everyone. And I understand how to speak to you. I understand what you're seeking and why you want to be in this space. So from a business perspective, when you're trying to understand where do I fit in, that's a core place that I speak to my clients, and trying to show your value, and showing what you're something extra, your literal lanyard, what differentiates you from the pack. And that helps in speaking why you should leave a popular space to walk into this smaller space, and why you can be successful for the long term in this space, because there's room for you as a business owner to thrive and have a community of strong people there that will sustain your business for longevity. One. Two, how do you find your people? You just found them because you know what they're seeking, and you now, because you've niched down and understood that piece, what words will speak to them to know you, like you, trust you, to move and entertain and give you their valuable time on a consistent basis. And the other thing that he managed to do, and the financial piece that Andrea spoke to, is found someone that believed in him, that had some street credibility. That street cred is the review. Oh, Kerry Washington is investing in this place. Did you not see how Andrea leaned in so well that we saw her really clearly in the camera? That is important, and she got it quickly, and that piece is imperative. When, and it happened to be Kerry Washington, but there was something else that came in. She did two things: gave him financial backing, and two, gave him street cred. And that, I think, would have come eventually, but it sped up the process, and he was there and available and ready to meet that moment as well, to allow his business to sustain through and to compete with the beast. This is, the Goliath kind of story that we're speaking of here. And they did it well. And this shows our small business community that you too can do it, but you have to really focus and understand. And we do that a lot here in Lanyap, to force that behavior and to ask 60 questions to define who that target audience is and why that's important to you. And the talk track comes from answering those questions and defining who that niche is. I know I said a lot, but I'm kind of excited about that topic.
He said a lot of great things. That's all right. He said a lot of great things. So what I do like about this hot topic, so thanks for that, Andrea, is, again, going back to this word niche, right? And I think I prefer use the word segment, because niche always denotes, a smaller piece, but these are not small pieces. And digital allows us to really leverage all the data to now reach these very specific segments. And I think that's a really great takeaway for businesses. Find a segment that you can hone into, you know it very well, you can operate within that space, you know what their pain points are, etc., etc. Looking at, while Andrew was talking, when I hadn't downloaded the app as yet, I did not get an early invite like Tamara, boo-hoo. But, it has, on Android, it has 50,000 downloads already and growing. So again, that idea of looking at segments, looking at your industry and saying, what's a segment within that industry that I can serve really well?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was a good one, Andrea. Thank you for that. I love these hot topics, man. They're so good. So much information. I feel like it's the news. All right. Okay. So we're moving on along because we spent a lot of time there, but again, so good. So segment, the niche. I like that conversation as well too. You know, how do we talk about it? Because I think people, when they hear that word niche, anyway, I'm like doing the thing. All right, so we're moving on to our next segment. My favorite segment, our Go Beyond the Light segment. So today I am super excited about this conversation. Our Go Beyond the Light segment is where we really kind of move beyond those likes and follows and get you to that place of strategy, money in the bank, what actually works, what are the numbers you're looking at, how do you connect the dots back to the CFO, right? So today we are talking to one of my favorite people who I met at the East Orlando Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Alex Zweydoff. Bring him to the stage. Today we're talking about content that captivates and really ranks. Alex, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
So excited
Love
to
the
have
energy.
you here. Good, right? Round of applause for you. All right. So, Alex, tell the people who you are. Tell them what you do. And again, this is another chamber connection, the East Orlando Chamber of Commerce. Shout out to them for making these amazing, amazing connections. So, Alex, go for it.
Yeah, I want to let me reiterate that. Shout out to East Orlando Chamber for making this connection because it really is the reason I'm here. I'm Alex Whiteoff, and I am actually the Director of Business Development at Allegiant Management Group. I am not an SEO expert. I am a SEO. I ended up here randomly. My job is to basically build relationships in the community and build our brand. We've recently went through a website relaunch. And so that's kind of what started the SEO conversation for us. And I'm really happy to be here and kind of share some of the things that I've learned from this as someone who is not a professional, but who's someone who is getting involved in this and learning this stuff day to day.
We love that. All right. So we try to circle people in and out so that we have 4 people on the stage. So I'm going to remove one person. So it's not so crazy. It's like we always feel bad, like, who are we moving this time? So anyway, so Alex, you are not an SEO expert, but I think that makes the conversation a little bit better, right? Because you're not an SEO expert. So let's talk a little bit about before you, made that connection between SEO and content marketing. What was the approach, and what did you feel was lacking in your strategy? Because you guys were actually doing content marketing, right?
We were doing content marketing. We were using some third-party companies to kind of write some of that for us. Coming now, 6 months into this, I don't think it wasn't really effective what they were doing. The content that was there was just there. It wasn't, really hitting those keywords. There was really no research behind it. It was very broad spectrum for what our industry does in property management. So very broad topics, but there was a lot of keyword stuffing and cannibalization and all these different things. And so I would say, over the years, we were constantly bombarded with tips and tricks for SEO, but honestly, we weren't really seeing the value in it. We understood that SEO was important, but we didn't grasp just how crucial it was to our success and what the power of the website could have. What was truly lacking was our strategy, was solid foundation of the knowledge, the structure, and necessary the time and energy that it takes to invest in this. Let me reiterate the time and energy it takes to invest in this. I had found that out. Until Tamara showed me kind of some of the compelling data behind our website, and have talked to a couple different people in this sphere, and I got very high level version of that data. But when I met with Tamara, she really opened my eyes because she kind of pulled the curtain back behind the data. So she went into it a little deeper. She helped me understand it. And like we had a couple conversations over the time, and I was asking her questions over and over. And I think it was, I was like, what do you mean our website is cannibalized? Like I didn't understand. And so, this kind of started from our conversations. And then one weekend, I made the mistake of downloading SEMrush. By day 3, I was completely hooked, and I called my broker, Maria, and I was like, Maria, we have to invest in this software. I was like, I can see that it's going to make a real big difference in our business. And she said, I trust you, go for it. So I did it. And for like the next 24 hours, I was in it. I was like, because I was getting to see all the different things. We did one of the higher packages on there. So we had a lot of different, the content creation things on there. So the tools that they did, and it really just Tamara really gave me the confidence to dive deeper into it. And it's a rabbit hole that I'm going to be stuck in for a very long time. So, from this point on, we, want to fully embrace the connection to it and leverage it for our growth.
Love that. Love that. I mean, like, you told the whole story. We love that. Great, great story. Michelle, you're sitting forward. You're like, I heard something. So go for it, Michelle.
Welcome to the crazy, Alex. I think I told you this when I first met you on this, because it is the data. I love from a sales perspective, the business development component that you're looking for. That's your sweet spot. Walking into the crazy world of the numbers that Tamara, gets you into, it can be pretty daunting. And I appreciate that you were open enough to share that it wasn't your center of greatness, is what I typically call it in this space. It's not my jam, it's not my thing, but you knew something spoke to you as she's giving you information, and she connected the dots. And community, as he's giving the story, I want you to listen for those things that resonate with you, and says, yes, I'm like that, and that you don't have to be scared of this as well. You can tiptoe in, and you can absorb it and take it in at your pace, but know that you can jump in too, and still baby step into the numbers. Tell me, and the piece that I'm interested in from a sales perspective, when you were speaking of the disconnect, what exactly was disconnecting for you from the numbers, or from the sales journey, that you didn't see coming to move the sales forward in a business development aspect? Because I think the missing sales piece, I think is what frightens a lot of small business owners, but they just don't understand what that means. Innately, they think something's wrong, but they can't just put their finger on it. So for you, in that sales component of it, what was missing that made you think that I need to do something different from an SEO perspective?
For me, like I said, and let me preface this: we are a small business, so I think that's very important in this story. We did we didn't understand, like I said, we didn't understand the data. It was always presented to us, and it always felt as though we were being talked at and not talked to. So when Tamara really broke it down, and I'm saying, when I say like we reviewed these reports 3 or 4 times, because I was like, what are you? I just like I couldn't grasp it at that time. And I mean, I've been doing business development for over 14 years now, so I've been in, the sales and all this is great, but this whole avenue of digital marketing, I've always understood that it was important. But like I said, I never understood the importance of it, and I never understood the story behind it. You have backlinks, you have, keywords, you have cannibalization, all these words that you're just not used to and you don't understand. So when she took the time to really help me understand that, and that clicked in my head, and it kind of sparked an interest, because I was like, you know what we're doing now is not working. We were doing Google ads, and we were putting all these funds out for Google ads, and they weren't converting as much as we would have liked it to. So that was the big part of it. And then with just being able to kind of understand all those aspects, and thankfully, there's so many different knowledge bases out there on the internet that really help you kind of understand this. And like, I'm still trying to understand a lot of this stuff today. But I think it's really just the fact that once I understood what the data meant, that really kind of allowed me to get a full circle thing. And she was very transparent and everything. No one was really transparent with us with that data. So, and I felt like she was giving away her secrets. I was like, why are you telling me this? Like, don't tell me this, And and that was really what it was for me. That kind of triggered in my brain: if she's willing to share this with me, I need to take this information and try to really put it into fruition.
It is. And thank you for sharing that. I was purposeful in asking, because one of the shows we had earlier was two things: understanding and the translation table. So we say a lot of terms in this space. Digital is very daunting for people, and it is literally like a foreign language. So from our perspective, part of the responsibility that we have is translating in a language that you may receive so that you can understand how it fits into your world. And also, when one of the shows that we had was, how do we engage and what are the things that we're asking of a digital marketing agency or a sales consultant or a CFO or an operations team? If we're inviting them into the space, what are the things that are important to us in order for them to come into our world and trust? And it sounds like when you and T were talking, the not vibe, but she understood, and you were open enough to share what's important for your business. Therefore, when you shared the information, she was able to say, here's what you may need to know. First, let me explain and educate, but let me show you the way in a way that is important to your business specifically, so that it wasn't, something that is way outside of bounds and not interesting to you, but in a way that resonated with you, that you said, tell me more, but I don't understand. And she said, well, let me help you understand. Let's take this one step at a time. And in the relationship in this digital space, I think that's really important, especially in sales, where you've got to turn and burn. And we have to learn to move from the I'm in person space to let me sell online. And that's a whole different sale process. I've been in sales a long time, just like you, and it's important to understand how you take what's in person and translate that in the digital space. But if you don't understand the language, you don't understand how to speak to those people in that space. And that relationship you and T developed is really key and important to that not just relationship and know like trust, but to help you be successful, and that you were giving enough. And I'm purposefully saying this because that relationship helped your business move forward, and that trust and communication was imperative to get you to a space of not being frustrated, but saying, oh, good gracious, this is important to me. Tell me more. I did this. What's next? What's next? What's next? And that was the key to you and for our community to understand that relationship is important, and for you not to shy away from digital, because it's key to your success in 2024 and moving forward.
Yeah.
All right, Michael, I see your face. Go for it.
No, actually, I was like, he gave the full story. So should we jump ahead a little bit? But I do want to just ask, just a highlight of a couple things maybe. Alex, great that you stuck to it in that, both you and Michelle are talking about the length of time in sales and knowing that digital is supposed to deliver something, right? So you didn't give up, because I think you're very representative of a lot of the businesses that we speak to, and you dug in deeper, right? You said this is supposed to do these things. Google Ads are supposed to do these things. SEO is supposed to do these things. So I'm glad that there was that clarity that this wasn't a walk away situation. This was a find a right person to collaborate with. It matches very well with what we talked about when we say outsourcing and what outsourcing can look like. So in your case, it was just that professional consultation, just having someone, as you said, pull back the curtain on the data, which we find all too often is when we say that's not your first job, right? It's our first job. So we understand that that's a challenge, and that's why we come here to simplify that process, so that gives you that leg up to say, well, okay, it gave you the impetus to go in and start SEMrush, dive deeper. You're seeing the work, and then now you can make a clearer decision point whether you continue doing the work, whether you outsource it to somebody else, but you're now even clearer on what your expectations are. So I love that.
And one thing I'd like to say is take the power back in your business. That was what's been huge for us, is we were having other people kind of in this space, and it's been really great, because now that we're in it, we're able to control things. And yes, we probably will outsource, because this isn't my first job. I still have a job to do, and this is added a couple hours onto my day each day. But it's that prospect of that, and just really giving it up to that.
We love that. Take the power back. We love that. because you're connecting your business goals back to it, right? So that's really the power of this entire thing. Sometimes in digital, we're in that space where the person that's saying, hey, I'm the subject matter expert, they kind of have that power of, I know how all these keywords work, but what you really, the business needs is, my goals are to drive traffic to my website so I can drive leads. And that's the power. Your business goals are really the power in every digital marketing activity. And if the agency, the consultant you're working with can't connect those dots for you, then it becomes a difficult conversation, because it should be these impressions led to these clicks, led to people clicking the form, led to this traffic. And now I see 10% of the business leads coming in through form X, right? That's where we really want people to be. So, oh, Alex, so good, so good. Andrew, we brought you back to the stage because I'm sure you're like, yes.
Yes, I am loving what I'm hearing. Alex, welcome to the show. So some key words that I just keep hearing that I love. I love the fact that we're talking about, you know, the SEO and content, that ranking, as opposed to, we're not using the word viral. We're not talking about just going out there. We're talking about, how does this content speak to my business goals? And I love that Alex said, taking back ownership of this particular thing, because I identify with that, because in my own space, being offering CFO services, accounting services, I try to encourage my clients to take ownership of your numbers, take ownership of your finances. I'm here to help you, no, yes, but take an active role in understanding what I am presenting to you and understanding how these things can help you. So I love this conversation. I love the direction and the thought process that you have with it, Alex, in terms of really truly investing in this as a long-term strategy for your business. This is not just an attempt to just get more posts and get seen more. You're really trying to get this as part of your overall strategy. So one thing I would like to hear from you is, once you started using the tool SEMrush and applying what the SEO insights it gave, what changes did you start seeing in your content marketing performance? What did you start to see happening with the content?
Once we studied the tools and I was able to kind of see how the behind the scenes works, with the keywords, your schema, markup, and all these different things, and try to understand it, I was able to kind of go in, and when I understood the keyword research, that was big. The competitor, researching our competitors and seeing where they were at, what they were doing, and then understanding that, a hot topic that's in our industry, doing a blog on that. For me, the big switch was, I did a blog on the new squatter bill that was here in Florida that went live in July 1st. It's really big in our industry, this conversation, because squatters has become very prevalent, and people going to vacant homes and doing all these things. So I wrote this blog, and it was just really about the law. I'm very involved legislatively, so that's a passion of mine as well. So on the property management side, I wrote this blog, and I didn't even, at the time when I wrote it, I didn't think it was going to do what it did. But so it was, I put this blog out. About a month later, I was in that whole space of Googling the company, Googling the brand, watching the front page change, seeing as I was doing different things, how it was kind of altering. And I saw a featured snippet up top, and I was like, "What's that? That's fancy. I've never seen that before. I don't think I've never noticed that, And I like Googled it, and like I clicked a little button, like, what is the featured snippet? And I was like, oh wait, this is good. And I went and then I was like, oh, I need to go look at the traffic on this one, because at that time I hadn't really focus in on the actual traffic and the numbers. So I was seeing like the data from the what we were doing previously, but I hadn't really locked into that. And when I went and looked, this page was bringing in more than our whole website was bringing in previously. And this was in August, I think, is when it hit, and it's still going right now. It's ranking above the governor, right? The actual law itself. So it's one of my, I think I have like 30 keywords on this blog, and they're all snippets. And I was, I literally texted my husband and my boss, and I was like, oh my gosh, I did it. And like, I think I did it. And like, that is when it really went like that for me. And I was like, I can really do this. And so, that was that's exactly what it felt like. And no one was as excited as I was when I was texting them about it, but I was very proud of it. I still have the screenshot. I took a screenshot of it. I'm going to put that in a frame one day.
I love it. I love it. And I could imagine the excitement of seeing it performing, and this is what we love to talk about the show here, watching the numbers, because the numbers don't lie. So this is now real information and real data that you have to say, hey, this is making a difference, because now I'm actually seeing a shift and I'm seeing people going towards this particular blog. So I love that you were able to achieve that milestone. Follow-up question. And if you don't have the data yet, it's okay. But have you been able to see? Have you been able to say, like, from a sales perspective, from money in the bank, as we like to say, money in the bank perspective, are you seeing a positive shift that you can directly attribute to what is happening now with the content?
Yes. So right now we have two major blogs. So it's the squatter bill, and then we have one on security deposits. Security deposits is one of the biggest, conversations in property management. And when you're renting, am I getting my security deposit back? What's the laws regarding security deposits? How long do I have to return it? All these things. So these are questions people are asking a lot, and we're getting it's the stuff that I've received through our website, the leads that I've received. I have my cousins are living in my house. They won't leave. All these different things with squatter. Like, I have squatters in my house. Can you help? And that kind of opened up a whole new thing. I was like, maybe we need to lean into this a little more. So, we bought a couple different domains, and and really focusing on the squatter thing. And we're getting at least a couple leads in this sphere a week. And the security deposits, I got one the other day that was like, I bought a house. I was renting this house, and then I bought it from the landlord. The security deposit wasn't transferred. And what do I do? And I was like, well, first you need to call an attorney. That's between, I'm not a licensed attorney, so please take care of that with them. But just the things we're getting, it's great that we're actually, these people are in a crisis, essentially, when they're looking for these questions. And it's great that we're able to have, kind of some guidance in it. And so that has been very fruitful. And but that allows us to gain the trust with them, so that when they have the situation handled, I know that they'll come back to us because they see us as the expert, and they're like, thank you. You helped me just like Tamara helped me. So it's kind of, full circle giving back.
Listen, I love that you ended right on that point, because just a level set for everyone listening, that role of content in your world of, you just said it was going to be my question, but then you said it, that the content performs to set you all as the authority in the field. It's driving those quality leads, because my question was, why content strategy for your business? Because I think that was your first decision, right? There are a number of different ways, a number of different channels. You could have said, you're going down social, but talk to us about why you even saw a benefit in going the route of content marketing.
And let me say that wasn't the initial goal of this. Wasn't the content marketing? We were going to, we wanted to get the website, the health of the website up, those things. That's kind of what, fix the cannibalization. That was the big thing. And then it was, like I said, it was really when that blog hit. That's when it switched my mindset, because I didn't truly understand it until that point. And I was like, oh wait. And like I said, I had no intention for this blog. This was just a nerdy blog for me and about the legislative things that I love, so when it hit, I was like, oh wait, people are, and that kind of brought it back to the things that are relevant in, now and today. One of the, we just, recently got through Hurricane Milton. I optimized our hurricane, our blog about prep for hurricanes with Hurricane Milton and the key terms. I put a tracker on there, like a live tracker on there, so that it was actually a true resource. So locking in on those things that are really happening around you at this time is, I get the value of that now. And, and I've also understood that not every blog is going to hit. I've read some blogs, and, it's taken some time for them to get up there. But so you just have to find that one little niche thing that is really relevant in your industry, and, really set it. And I'm telling you, I've optimized that squatter blog maybe 30 times. I'm keeping it, constantly updating it, looking what our competitors are doing. Like I said, we're ranking above the governor and the actual law itself. So I think that, just making sure, keeping those checks and balances is really important. And it's not a one-time thing. I think I'm going to repeat it's I want to make sure people understand that you have to really there's some days where I was optimizing it 2-3 times a day, with using that local SEO checker on there on SEMrush, and that's a great tool that's really been beneficial for us.
Man, a round of applause. So good. So good. I was supposed to bring Michelle back. I got caught up in the conversation. Go for it, Michelle. I think you're like, what?
I was back here. Let me tell you, I was back here just applauding, like, yes, yes, yes. That is a couple of things that you said that were really relevant. I think not just for all of us in all of our specialties, but especially in the sales and marketing, sales journey component, especially where you not only found the relevant point for now, that was just not just for the moment in the area, but that was a sweet spot for you. You knew the content, you were comfortable in it, were able to speak to it as the authority in the space. And I think I'm comfortable in saying that when you rank above the governor in this space, that's really important. And two, one of the things that we speak to often in the sales journey and the know like trust is you leaned in and answered the questions that they were asking and before they really understood that you were answering it. So that FAQ component was within your blog area. And it also, the thing I speak to here often is you also, in the qualification process, they were self-qualifying themselves out as well. So the leads that were coming to you were more relevant leads because they were understanding, or you were allowing them to understand that you're for me or not for me or not yet. When you said they will eventually come back around to you, they found a trusting place and know because of the information that you're providing that you're worthy of them investing their money and time in future. And in selling, that's really important. And you're accomplishing that in the digital space with blogs, something that's really key and helps to be the authority in the space. They like and they're warmly served up to you later. And that's really important, especially in the property management space. And that squatter thing is really big coming through COVID. That was a big deal. And that was such a national, well, probably global at this point, a global concern. And one that if you can sit in a space of authority is really important because that's a lot of money you're dealing with. This is not someone's lifetime investment in many respects. So if you are having them come in and you're able to provide clarity on the front end and then from a selling perspective, help them to self-qualify out, that moves that sales process along a lot faster as well. Kudos to you, Alex. Kudos.
100%, definitely. Alex, one of the things, I mean, it ties back to the hot topics, right? So you got some new URLs, you found a niche, or I'm sorry, you found a segment. You found a new segment that could potentially open up more business opportunities. So delve into that a little bit because I think that's also that's really good.
Yeah, and it really was like it was like we were out at dinner one night, and then after this had hit, and I was like, you know what, maybe we should lean into this, and then, you know, it was when I got the first form on the website that was going through a story, and I was like, I forwarded it to Maria, and I was like, Maria, look, I'm like, it's working, and this was before we actually even launched our new website. So with the new website, I really every piece of word, every word on there is written by me, and it's true and accurate content. And I think that's the biggest thing, with that is really providing that relevant content to your industry. And, once I was able to understand that and find that, I'm able to kind of, when I pick blogs, it's things that are happening in our industry. It's things that, emotional support animals, security deposits, all these big things. Like she said, the squatter thing was a very big thing. We spent a lot of time in Tallahassee legislating for this law over the past year, and it passed through the legislator unanimously in both the House and the Senate. So that alone is a feat in itself. But just to really find those things that are going to be find those relevant to your business. Like I said, do I want to be, doing, squatter relief, all the time? No, but it's opening that door to gain that trust and really, massage that client into giving the trust to us. 'Cause like I said, like you said, you do business with people you know, like, and trust. And if you don't trust someone, and if you're in a situation like that where you've had someone squatting, like some of these people, this is their livelihood. This is how they put food on their table for their family. So it's not these big hedge funds and all these big investors. So to feel that we're really going to make a difference with these certain things that we do have a level of expertise on has been great.
That's
One of the
amazing.
things I really appreciate what you did, and our community needs to listen in and understand this piece as well, is to understand when to bring them along on that road in the sales journey and when to off ramp them when they're not your client. Where you're now, as you said, it's important that you become an authority in the space, but it's also great that you have to really understand when this is not my client. They are not my target audience. They are not in the community of people that are important to me, but I understand they have a need. But so let me refer them somewhere else. And in one of the instances that you provided, it was like, refer them to an attorney in this instance, in that there's a level of expertise that you require that's not in my space, and I don't want to advise you in the wrong space. But it was also, you are not my client at this point in time, and your assistance in referring them somewhere else help to qualify them out. And I'm saying that in the gentlest way that I can say it, but here in this community, that's part of the things that you have to understand. Your time, what you're investing, is valuable. And while you want to be an expert in that space, you also have to understand when it's not your client and where it becomes detrimental to your business. And you are learning that cycle, and you are handling it appropriately. And I love the example that you gave, because it's really good for our community here to hear how you acknowledged it, did something about it, but also left the door open for them to come back in when they were in a timing space that was appropriate, and when they would be your client. And that's really key as well in the sales process.
No, really, really good points. I love that. Oh my God. Oh, you guys are killing it today. So, Alex, I have another question. I'm sure Andrea and Michael, but I'm going to jump in really quickly and talk a little bit about the relevant content that you're creating. So, the content that's out there, and talk about how you're now taking that relevant content that you're writing and putting that into SEMrush to get results that help you rank. Because it's not that you're saying, hey, I'm just making this stuff up, or I'm just pulling it from somewhere. You're putting your voice behind it, but then using the formula, right? So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so for me, the competitor research was that was a really big eye opener for me to see what other people were doing, and like I said, what's relevant going on in the industry right now with the hot topics and things like that. It's definitely it was definitely just learning what the competitors were doing and then doing it better. So that's one of the great things about the tools, is it shows you your plan of attack. And that's what I thought. I'm like, how is this even legal? Like, some of this stuff's on here. I was like, I'm getting, this information, like anyone can find it. And that's the thing, but you have to know that it's there. And I think that's why a lot of, we, out of our 20 competitors that I have listed in the system, we're showing the most, visibility. And it's been like that for a while. And it was like a couple weeks ago, I texted Tamara, and I was like, I need to share something with you. You're the only person that's going to get this. You can call me when you have a minute. And I told her, I was like, when we started this thing, our map tracker in there, we were number one in our local market of Kissimmee, but we're all over Central Florida. And so I put it into a 40-mile radius, and we finally hit one across the board over the 40-mile radius. And that was big for me in understanding, that how to really take those things from the competitors. There's blogs that they were doing that I wasn't doing, that I was like, hey, I need to write a blog on this, and I need to do it better. And I'm going to get, if they have 20 keywords, I'm gonna have 30. So, it's really it's just tit for tat the whole time. And like I said, constantly optimizing it and just taking that data and putting it into some kind of pathway forward.
I love that. I love that. So, competitors respond, right? So this leads into my question really nicely. What's your process been like for doing this on an ongoing basis? Because a lot of times our audience might listen to this and say, I can't do all of that, but you're talking about an ease. So tell us a bit about, now that you're in that flow, you're in that field of SEO, you're becoming an SEO expert, you're getting there. What does your process look like?
It's been a messy process. Let me say that. It's been a learning experience. Every day there's something new I'm learning. I'm better understanding things, and coding. Like, I didn't know I was going to be like doing coding for the like on the website, like basic coding and learning all these things. And I think it's really just figuring out what works for you. And there has been, let me say this, there has been significant time and energy put in behind this, and so that makes me respect you guys all a lot more, and Tamara a lot more, because when we were going through the process, she was trying to talk about her services and things like this, and I was like, oh, like that it was scary, to give that up, to really dive into that, and to be able to, like I said, I think one of the most important things about it is taking the power back in your business. Because when other people are telling you this data and they're throwing it at you, they're not really caring about what's going on behind it and what's going to happen forward. Those website leads are how I put food on my table. That's how I feed my family. So I think that just finding that balance of what works for you. And let me say this, it was very much a very high initial investment with it, with financially and time. But now that I've figured things out and I've found the tools that are out there, rich test results, all these different things that Google puts it all out there for you. That's the crazy thing. Google has all the tools out there for you. You just have to know that they're there and know how to use them. So you're really leaning into that. And like I said, it's been a messy process. It's been a fun process, but just finding what's worked for us. And when I have an extra hour, I'm going in there, I'm running a report, I'm doing this, and I'm like, oh, let me go change this blog real quick. So just that's finding your comfortability in, I think, is very important, and that's why I think it's so important to have professionals like Tamara that are there. And will I probably hand this over to her sooner than later? Yes, because I wanted to make sure our voice is behind everything in there, and I think that was very important to me, because we are the experts in property management, and just making sure that we also believe that we're not the expert in certain things, give it up to the professionals. But this has been great, like I said, just because we took the power back on our business from other vendors that weren't, maybe had our best interest in mind. But I want to say this, Tamara changed our business forever, and it really will. Her conversations with me, her repeating these same words to me, and like, I'm saying it to you, you don't understand it. I'm like, but then I got it, and it just takes that one connection and that one thing. So like, I really do owe a lot to her for opening this journey. I don't know if I should be mad at her for opening this journey, but my husband may not appreciate her sometimes. But it's definitely lean into it, and if you want to see something happen, you have to do it yourself.
I am never speechless. I appreciate that so much. That is the most humbling thing that someone has said to me. And thank you so much. Thank you for doing this show. It's good to, we want to educate people, because we want businesses to understand how their business goals tie back to this, right? We think there's value in you being able to understand this, being able to talk to Maria about it, being able to say, hey, here's how the money that you're spending is moving your business forward, especially as a small business. And taking that power back is important. And I think also, as you're working with an agency, you now know what to ask, right? You now have this foundation of like, these are the things that are important to me. Are you going to be able to do these things? So you've hit on so many things that are important, and you've made me, I think, a little bit emotional. I feel like there's some onions. I was cutting some onions. So that is, I did not expect that. So there we are. So Alex, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, this was, I couldn't have paid you to say more. So thank you. This was
Did
awesome.
not pay me. But she did with all my future efforts.
Yeah, right. Thank you for joining us. I know it's early in the morning, but this was a great show. Thank you so much. We will talk to you very soon. We absolutely need to have you back to check up on the results. Take it easy, Alex. Bye. Woo! All right. Oh man. This is how I'm like, he threw me off so much. This is how you can connect with Alex. Definitely connect with him. Look at what he's doing from an SEO standpoint, how he's talking about it, how he's leveraging it for his business. I think, you know, this was awesome, guys. What do you think? Okay, 30 seconds. I'm like fumbling for words.
You need a commercial. It says, like you told me, I approve this message. That was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Got nothing. Mic drop. Move on. Thank you for coming.
I think what I love about it is it's the long-term discussion, the longevity about the decisions that he's making. That's what's building the sustain. That's what's helping him build the sustainable business, right? And that's what we're always talking about on this show. You know, trying to give people those sustainable tips to make sure that they're here 5-10 years from now, right? That they have something that's worthwhile. So I think that's the takeaway here, that this discussion, we're not talking about going viral. We're not talking about just being a hot sensation. We're talking about truly building content that helps to establish you in the right way so that people now and in the future will find you and will continue to contribute to Money in the Bank.
Definitely a great small business story today, for sure. You know, as small businesses, he echoed a lot of the things that we talk to, right? Not understanding the data, not understanding and understanding that, you know, this is what this tool, this strategy is supposed to deliver. Great to hear that we are able to simplify the process, right? Explain it, put it into very simple terms that translates into do this and drive more leads for your business. Finally, you know, content marketing, right? It absolutely works. It absolutely works. It's a constantly evolving field. And, you know, this is where you really need to dig in going forward. It helps do so much for your business, establish authority, build that relationship, all the good things he said, right? So he's now getting warm leads, right? Not just cold leads, ranking for very specific things, picking out, you know, very specific industry related topics, all go toward establishing a business on the internet as, you know, an authority in your area, as the go-to in your area. And the proof is in the receipts, right? He got the receipts. All right, great show. Great show. Thanks, Alex.
A really great show. I mean, my goodness, not only am I humbled, right? But it is one of those things to have someone, you know, really understand and connect the dots, right? That's what we talk about here on the show the entire time. How do you connect the dots for people with digital and digital marketing? How do you move that process through of beyond those likes and follows? And Alex is way beyond the likes and follows now. And then, you know, we did an exercise. Maybe I did an exercise. I don't say I enough sometimes in building trust and building a relationship that where someone actually uses the words, "You've changed the trajectory of my business forever." I don't know if that's a direct quote, maybe not trajectory, but that also is, you know, really that's really what we at Monovan Digital, that's what we work towards. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that's it. I don't know that I can say more. Let me tell you how you can connect with us. Connect with us in so many places. Connect with us on YouTube. Connect with us on LinkedIn. We are everywhere podcasts are found. Tell a small business about this show. Tell a business executive about this show. Tell a CFO about this show. Tell a CMO about this show. Alex proved out everything that we're talking about. We want to help people drive results. We want to have people go back to their bosses, to their CFOs and say, hey, here's how content marketing is helping to move my business forward by driving more traffic, by creating those segments that we can now align with who will need our services maybe later on. This is how small businesses are doing it. Does it take a little bit of effort and time? Absolutely. But you already take that effort and time to do the activities that you're doing. So this is just the next part of it to make sure that you can really actively grow your business using digital and digital marketing efforts. So subscribe to the show. Tell folks about this show. It's an amazing show. Your Business in Digital. I have a true small business here. All the players are here: sales, pricing, finance, operations, and marketing. And yeah, this was amazing. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you next show. Take care. Bye.